Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Giraffe Tools retractable extension cord reel. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So this is a 50-foot cord reel. The wire in it is 12-3, so that's 12 gauge, has 3 conductors, so you have hot, common, and ground. So let's get this open. Here we have a manual. Let's take a quick look at it. Now I'm not going to cover everything. You will want to read it on your own. So here we have some product specs. This is 11 and 13/16 inches tall and 16 and a 16th inch depth from the wall and 6 and an 1/8 inches wide. The lead cord is 4.5 feet. Max amps on this is 15 amps. It has overload protection. It has 3 outlets on it. It says mounting type, swivel on wall, ceiling, or floor. This is for dry use. And this is what it comes with. You have the cord reel, has a bracket base, self-tapping screws, anchors, small screw, and owner's manual. This talks about the tools for installation. It says electric drill, 5/16 inch, hammer, socket set, or Phillips screwdriver. This talks about installing the base. So the plugs on this has a light, so it's easy to find. This talks about how to use it. You pull the cord out to the desired length and stop, and the cord will lock. If you want to pull it out longer, you pull it out, and it stops at the new length. To unlock it, give the cord a small tug and release the force. The cord will start to retract. To shorten the cord to a new length, let the cord retract to the desired length, and then pull the cord out a little and then stop. There's a stop indicator 3 feet before the end of the cord, so as you get towards the end, when you see that, you know you should stop pulling. Here's some troubleshooting. This talks about maintenance. And here's an installation template. Let's get the reel out. I'm going to pull this off my bench to give me a little more room. So here we have the mounting bracket and the reel. There's an on-off switch on the side that is also a circuit breaker. So if this trips, you can reset it there. The other side looks similar without the switch. Here we have the swivel bracket. So this will slide on top like so. These are mounting bolts, and there is a retaining screw here you can put in to lock this in place. There are also keyhole slots here. So here's the lead that plugs into the wall, and this is 12 gauge wire, so it's going to be very thick. You can carry a lot of electricity. So a 15 amp circuit in your home might be wired with 14 gauge wire. 12 gauge is typically for 20 amp circuits, but this is an extension cord, so it uses a larger wire to help combat losses for the length of the wire. On the plug side, we have 3 outlets here. Here's a stopper, has Phillips screws in it, one here and here, so you can loosen this up. You could adjust this to change the length of the lead hanging down. Inside we have the reel, so I'll pull this out. I'll let go, it will stop. Pull it out a little more, let go. Okay, it's pulling in, I'll pull it out. There we go, it'll stop. Pull it out a little, let in, and it will retract. Now I like to let it in slowly. I don't want to slam back against the stop. So this is a 50-foot cord. If you think of a typical 2-car garage, it's about 20 foot by 20 foot. So if you mounted this in a 2-car garage, this should be able to reach anywhere in the garage with just half of its length. So if you have a larger garage, this would probably still reach many of the corners of that garage. You could also have this in the back of a 20-foot garage, and this would reach 30 foot out onto the driveway. So lots of length here. Now I'm going to be mounting this in my basement workshop. I have an extension cord I use regularly to power things around my shop, and it just sits on the floor. It gets in the way. This is going to be a lot nicer. So I'm going to go mount this up, and then I'll demonstrate it. Okay, so this is where I want to mount the reel. So I'm going to mark the holes for the bracket. I'll drill holes with a masonry bit. I'll install the anchors, and then I'll install the bolts. Now since my wall is hollow, I'm going to put a little glue in there to help hold the anchors in. Now we can install the bracket. Okay, so now we can install the hose reel. And I'll install the retention bolt. And there we go, the reel is installed. Okay, so here we can see the old reel on the floor, and this is after I cleaned it up. Usually this is tangled up with other things, but it's been a big pain. Now this is a 12 gauge 25-foot cord, and the reel is a 12 gauge 50-foot cord. So let's check out the operation of this. So I can pull on the cord. If I let go, it will lock. If I pull it out a little bit, it will retract back in. Now we have that adjustable stop on there, so we can bring the end up higher or lower. Now I'm going to pull it all the way out. Now if you're 50 foot away from this, you won't be able to see the piece of tape. So if you're bringing it out really far, you'll probably want to stand next to the reel and pull a bunch of the cord out, or at least pull it out a ways and pull the last bit out where you're close enough to see that tape. Okay, so I pulled this out to the other end of the basement, which is about 40 foot away. And here we can see the yellow piece of tape telling us to stop. So now I'm going to wind it back in. Now this reel doesn't have an automatic spooler, so when I reel it in, it can help to pull the cord back and forth a little ways to make sure it gets on the spool evenly. Now since it doesn't do that, it does make it a little more compact. That's more of an issue if you have all 50 foot out. If you have a shorter amount out, then most of it will already still be on the spool. There we go, so now we have the whole reel in. And if you look down here, I've plugged this into the wall, and we have the switch on the side to turn it on and off. So when it's on, we can see there's a light on here. I'll turn the lights out, you can see that a little better. So if you have a dark garage or shop, that'll make the end more visible. Now if it's a bright shop, this is a clear plastic versus a black, so it makes it pretty easy to see the end. So let's try plugging something into this. So here I have my 3D printer, there's the power cord. Let me go grab the extension reel. So here I can plug this in. I still have room for 2 more things. You can turn it on. So I plug this in here, and I want it to somewhat lay flat against the ground. So I'll bring it in just a little bit. I still have a little slack. That's pretty good, right about like that. So now I'm going to pull it out. There's a little click, and it's locked in place. So I was previously using that blue extension cord to plug this in. As I said, it's 25 foot. I'm not 25 foot away from the outlet, so I had a lot of slack just cluttering up the floor. I also left it plugged in all the time because it was a hassle to plug and unplug and roll up the extension cord. With this, I can just turn this off, I'll unplug power, and I can reel this up in just a few seconds. When I'm not using it, I can kind of fold it against the wall and it's completely out of the way. Now that's one reason why you want to get your bracket level or plumb. That way you can have it held out or against the wall and it will stay in position. If you have it tilted a little bit, it might be biased towards leaning against the wall. And there might be a situation where you want that. But I like the way this is now, where it'll stay against the wall or it'll stay straight out when I put it there. So that's the Giraffe 50-foot extension cord reel. This was very easy to mount. You just attach the bracket to the wall and then you plug it into an outlet. I like that this doesn't take up much room when I'm not using it. And probably one of my favorite features is that it's a full-on 12-gauge cord, so this can support 15 amps. So I was running the 3D printer. That takes a couple hundred watts, but oftentimes I'll run my track saw or a router, and I really want all the amps with that. This is going to be really convenient when I'm using it because I can pull out just the amount of cord I need, and the big advantage of this over a regular extension cord is that when I'm not using it, it's just out of the way. I'm always doing different projects in my shop, so different times I might need power in different places. So this is a really nice solution. Now, since this is 50 foot and I'm in my basement shop, this will reach. I don't know that it would reach every corner, but it'd come pretty close. So in the next room over in the basement, we have the dryer. Occasionally I have to vacuum out the lint, and we don't have a lot of outlets in that area, so I can just drag this extension cord over there and plug in my vac. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.